Thanks, Brandis. Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle unveiled the proposed 2022 county budget that spends a good deal more than last year, but she says will put no new taxes on residents. The county is receiving $1 billion in federal relief that'll be split up over 3 years that could cover programs like a guaranteed income pilot to 911 alternatives. And joining us now with more is Toni Preckwinkle, Cook County Board President. President Preckwinkle, welcome back to Chicago tonight.
Good evening, Paris.
Good evening to you, and let's go over some of the highlights here in this $8 billion county budget. About $100 million of that federal relief money will go to one-time costs, $233 million of the federal relief aid for new and expanded programs, and then about 11% hiring expansion in the Cook County health system. So first off, what are the new and expanded programs that some of this federal relief aid is paying for?
Well, first of all, I want to express my appreciation to my budget team, Amar Ritzky, our Chief Financial Officer, and Annette Guzman and their team for their hard work. This has been a really challenging year and a half, and I'm very grateful to them for the way in which they've stepped up to meet the challenge, and to all of our team. You know, we are in an extraordinary moment, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity to make a $1 billion investment in the people and communities of Cook County. That's what the American Rescue Plan Act affords us, $1 billion. And we're going to put that, of course, into our healthcare system, into economic development, and a variety of initiatives, as I said, to support the people in the communities of Cook County.
One of those initiatives is a guaranteed basic income program, a pilot program kind of like the city rolled out. Tell us how the counties will work.
Well, we're still developing the parameters. We used some of our CARES Act money that became available last year for a one-time $600 grant to about 20,000 individuals in suburban Cook County. But we're looking at a pilot that will enable us to provide regular support as opposed to one-time assistance for those in greatest need.
Okay, and we mentioned at the top, it's an $8 billion budget. It's spending about $1 billion more than last year, although you're getting that $1 billion in federal relief, almost $2 billion more in spending than 2 years prior. So can the county sustain these added spending programs in future years without federal relief?
Well, first of all, I mean, we're going to use our American Rescue Plan money to make investments in the people in the communities of Cook County. And what that means is that we have 3 years to allocate the resources, 5 years to spend it. And we've committed that we're not going to put ourselves in a position where we have ongoing obligations that require increases in taxes to meet the needs of the people of Cook County. So we're going to spend this money in 5 years and do it in a way that has maximum impact and no long-term obligations, funding obligations from the taxpayers.
And one of those areas of needs, a big area of need, is the Cook County health and hospital system, driven by the County Care Medicaid program, which has about 422,000 county enrollees. There's been a lot of growth in that system. Can the system maintain that growth and that spending?
Well, one of the reasons that we're increasing our FTE count, our employee count in the healthcare system, is to meet the demands that have been created by a tremendous increase in the number of people in our Medicaid expansion program, County Care. As you said, it's 422,000. That's probably more than 50,000 that we anticipated, and it's a result of the fact that the state decided, quite rightly, not to kick anybody out of Medicaid expansion programs in the midst of a pandemic. So the result is that we have 422,000, many more than we anticipated, and we're staffing up to be sure that we can provide the appropriate patient care to the members of our Medicaid expansion program. And I'm very grateful to Israel Rocha and our health and hospital team for the good work they've done in this pandemic and continue to do.
And maybe as the economy improves, that number might go down. I need to ask you about an incident that happened late last month when a member of your security detail was involved in an apparent violent altercation, shots fired during an apparent carjacking right outside your house. Are you at liberty to say anything more about what happened in that incident and whether anyone was hurt?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm very, very grateful that the member of my detail who was subject to a carjacking is okay. He was not harmed, and that's the first thing that's critical to me. But these random acts of violence, unfortunately, plague many of our city neighborhoods, not just my own. Hyde Park is a relatively safe community in our city. But we're at a moment in time in which these kinds of things, I'm afraid, happen all over the city. And we in the county decided in the mid 2013, 2014, that we would begin investing in programs, anti-recidivism, violence prevention, restorative justice, to try to address some of the challenges of violent crime in our streets. And previously, the county, of course, had made tremendous investments in the jail and the court system, but we decided we had to try to do what we could to prevent people from coming into the criminal justice system or returning to it if they'd already been detained or incarcerated. And so we've been making investments in community-based organizations that do that work for almost a decade now, and I'm very pleased to say that we've established good relationships with a number of organizations that do street intervention, that work with people who have been involved in the criminal justice system, and try to support the communities in which much of the violence takes place.
In more investments, I gather, with some of this federal aid, but you got a letter from the lone Republican Cook County Commissioner, Sean Morrison, today asking why commissioners weren't informed of this incident earlier, why you didn't go public with it before it was reported out by a few media outlets, including the online account CWB Chicago. So how come you didn't go public with it first, or at least tell commissioners?
Well, the first thing I think I should say is when I'm concerned about people, I call them up and talk to them. And what I got from Commissioner Morrison was a letter about why I didn't divulge information about the incident. And let me just say, the incident was reported to the police, and I understand that they're investigating, and I'm not going to say anything that impedes their investigation.
All right, also this week, we've seen sort of a war of words escalate between Chicago's Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Cook County State's Attorney Kim FOXX. Lori Lightfoot wants FOXX to prosecute folks that were allegedly involved in a shootout on the west side. And here's what State's Attorney Kim FOXX had to say in response.
I was quite honestly mortified by what happened yesterday, particularly because the mayor, as a former prosecutor, knows that what she did yesterday was inappropriate.
And speaking about airing complaints in public, so this is part of a steady drumbeat of complaints from Chicago's mayor and police superintendent alleging what they see as soft prosecution of violent crime on the part of the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Is that a fair criticism?
No, of course not. I think the most interesting fact that came out of that press conference was State's Attorney FOXX's note that since she became State's Attorney in December of 2016, there have been more than 13,300 shootings, 13,000 shootings, and 2,400 arrests in those shootings. So 11,000 shootings in which no one's been arrested. So I think we have to look at what's going on in the Chicago Police Department, that so much of our violent crime does not result in arrests and prosecutions. And you can't prosecute people who aren't arrested.
Certainly
So
staggering.
Let's begin with that. We need to arrest the people who are responsible for these criminal acts. And we're having a real challenge, apparently, in the city of Chicago doing that.
The staggering numbers you mentioned there. So is this deflection on the part of the mayor and the police superintendent?
When you're faced with a really difficult challenge, and the violence that we see in our city and frankly, big cities all across the country is tremendously challenging. And I think it's important to talk about the context, about the history, how we got here, kind of what's happening now, and then what you're going to do with partners to try to deal with those problems. What we've seen from the mayor and the chief of police is finger pointing and blaming, and that makes it really difficult to move ahead.
All right. Well, Cook County Board President Toni Preckwinkle, we thank you for joining us today on the day that you unveil the county's budget, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you so much, Paris.